All right, one top 10 win. Check. I think I'm doing that right. I think that's supposed to look like a check mark for you folks at home. How about we see if SU can pick up another one just for fun? And folks, it's finally October, and that means one thing. No, I'm not talking about spooky season. I'm talking playoff baseball. Yankees in the postseason for the 4th straight year as the 2 seed in the American League. He said, listen, these guys, they're like my sons. They're like my stepsons. These guys are family. This is an Ohana, and seeing one of our guys that is not going to have many more opportunities to compete at this level and play football really ever again in his life was really special to see Clayton Welch. It is 14-0 Terps, but the Orange, they started to come back a little bit. They weren't going to go down quietly. Tommy DeVito finds Tristan Jackson his new favorite target. What a catch on the sideline from the Michigan State transfer. He reels it in, sets Syracuse up with good field position of their own, and he is handsomely rewarded. First touchdown of the season for Tristan Jackson, the first touchdown of the season for Tommy DeVito, and Syracuse cuts into the lead. It is 14-7, the Terps over the Orange. One of the early headlines of ACC play for Syracuse basketball was an 0-3 start in the Dome. But since then, the Orange have avenged every single one of those losses on the road, including tonight with an 84-82 win over Notre Dame in South Bend, Indiana. Some have called this a revenge tour for SU. Some close to the team agree. Others, not so much. When you come into any game, there are a certain set of notes. For example, we knew that the Pitt pass rush was going to be good, and they were really good with 9 sacks in a 27-20 win over Syracuse tonight at the Dome. What we didn't know, though, was that one of the hits they applied to Tommy DeVito would knock him out of the ball game and force backup quarterback Clayton Welch into his first significant playing time in his Syracuse career.
Were 50,000 people on hand last night inside the Dome. How crazy was that atmosphere?
I mean, you saw the sea of orange, and that was absolutely raucous. Incredible for Syracuse. 3rd largest crowd in Carrier Dome history, and it was just electric. It was that kind of stuff that gets the hair on your arms and on the back of your neck kind of sticking up, and you think, wow, this could be really special. Unfortunately, the performance for the team didn't necessarily live up to it, but it also is an indication of how much this program has evolved and changed in 4 years under Dino Babers. Well, Tim, this is really an important game for both teams, especially for their bowl chances. You look at Syracuse coming in at 3-6 on the season. That means they need to win all 3 of their final 3 games against some pretty stiff competition, and that starts today against Duke. And the Blue Devils, they've been to a bowl game in 5 of their last 6 seasons. This is a team that understands what it takes to get to the postseason and what it takes to win in the postseason, but they're 4-5 on the year. They need wins in 2 of their final 3 games to become bowl eligible, and you know head coach David Cutcliffe would certainly like to see that. If I told you before this season that Buddy Boeheim was going to be a top 5 scorer in the ACC at about the midway point, you probably would have laughed at me like I had 1,000 heads, but that's exactly what he's doing, just over 16 points a game, and he's gotten so much better at so many different parts of the game. You mentioned the 3-point shooting. He's a sharpshooter. He can shoot the 3 ball with the best of them, one of the best in the conference, makes the most in the conference, makes near the best percentage in the conference as well, but it's what he's added to his game. The turnaround jump shot, the drive to the bucket, lay it off the glass, that makes Buddy Boeheim really dangerous. I wouldn't be surprised if he has another big game today against Notre Dame. To the naked eye, Bryce Mills looks like your typical high school football player, but he's not, because just 2 hours after he's done hitting teammates on the football field, he's busy hitting punching bags at the gym.
Just wanted to try something new, and I was interested in I was always good in sparring and the martial arts aspect of things, and I was, you know what, why not try fighting, why not try boxing?
It started with karate as a kid and a double black belt before he was even a teenager. Now it's a full-blown professional boxing career with his pro debut coming back in May. But Bryce also loves football, and finding the balance between the two is easier said than done.
It's tough at times, you know, sometimes you don't want to get up and go to practice or go to training, but you just got to force yourself to do it. And in the end, you got to realize that the reward is more than the sacrifice you have to make. It outweighs that.
I don't know how he does it. You know, I couldn't do it. And, you know, I've only had one kid ever do it, and it's him.
So for Bryce Mills, the location doesn't really matter. It could be here on the football field at Liverpool High School, or here at Impact Martial Arts with Team Andrello. You know exactly what you're going to get out of Bryce Mills, and that's effort.
You know, he's the kid that we got to say, hey, it's Monday. You know, we're not hitting today, and he's just full go.
Giving his 100% in each practice, I think, is probably the one thing that stands out.
It's all go all the time for Bryce, and that's got his coaches describing him with these words.
Intense.
Tenacious.
But for Bryce himself, he knows he's still
Learning. And I'd say that just because, like a learner, maybe, because I'm constantly learning, and I realize that there's more steps I have to take to get to the place where I want to be.
And whatever that place is, whether it's on the football field or in the boxing ring, there's no doubt Bryce Mills' future is as golden as his nickname. jdraucci, NCC News.
And now, your Citrus TV Sports Report.
Is there really still a chance that Syracuse men's basketball could make the NCAA tournament? Welcome back to News Live at 6. I'm jdraucci. The answer to that question, probably still no. But if there's even an outside chance at it happening, SU cannot afford to lose the rest of the year, and that included last night against Old Big East rival Pitt. Syracuse heading to the Steel City, trying to make it 7 wins in a row against the Panthers. That is not a happy mascot, and Elijah Hughes doesn't let him get any more happy. Knocks down the triple. That puts SU up 13-9, but then this guy would be the star of the show. No, not Quincy Guerrier, but Rama Sidibe slamming it home off the Guerrier miss. That puts the Orange up by 8. It would be a big halftime lead. Joe Girard, second half, he'd get into it, knock down a triple from the outside. SU goes up 23, and then how about this for the exclamation point? Dolajai to Sidibe. Barama finishes with 13 points, 10 rebounds, 5 steals, and 4 blocks, and his coach even said something nice about him after the game. And as cross country continues on, the women's soccer season has come to an end in Syracuse, and the Orange didn't even get to play in their final game. Nikki Adams and company were slated to take on #1 Virginia on Thursday night in the season finale, but unfortunately Mother Nature had some other ideas and the game was canceled due to torrential rain. Big time win for the Cuse, and they did a lot of it in the second half without Megan Carney after her second yellow card. But as much hype as there's been around Carney and Emily Harris-Chuck, it seems people have just completely forgotten about Megan Tyrell, who filled in beautifully on her way to a career-high 5 goals. Remember, she was a former top 10 recruit and actually bested Carney in goals last year as freshman, just another lethal weapon in SU's arsenal. And we're now very pleased to be joined by the head man himself, head coach Jim Boeheim. Coach, thanks so much for stopping by.
Good to be with you.
Starting year 44 for you. That's a lot of time to kind of learn and grow as a coach and as a program. But what did last year specifically teach you about the group of guys you've got?
You know, every year is different. You know, last year was an up and down year.
Roster definitely going to look a little bit different this year with the losses of Tyus Battle and Frank Howard and O'Shea Brissett. How do you plan on trying to recoup some of that production that those 3 gave you?
Well, we're fortunate Elijah Hughes and Marek Dolajai and Barama got a lot of playing time and were key guys for us.
And you mentioned Elijah Hughes. He showed the ability to take games over last year, be your go-to guy in certain situations. He's almost certainly going to be the go-to guy this season without the 3 that we just mentioned. What have you seen from him? How do you think he's going to play this season?
Well, he's a good player. He proved that already. I think he's better this year.
One thing that Elijah does really well, that shoot the 3 ball. You guys got a lot better. Moved from 14th in the ACC 2 years ago up toward the middle of the pack in terms of 3-point shooting. How would you evaluate where the long ball is at with this year's squad?
Well, I think we should be as good or maybe a little bit better, hopefully, from the 3. And
good group of freshmen coming in, your largest freshman class since 2013. 5 new guys, a lot of good 3-point shooters there as well. How have they kind of integrated into this team, and what do you expect from this group of freshmen this season?
Well, the summer helped them. We had practices and games, so that's put them ahead a little bit.
When you look back to the summer, when those guys got that experience, a lot of that is because of the Italy trip that you made. 3 games against some pretty good all-star teams out in Italy. What kind of experience was that like for you, and how has that helped this team going forward this season?
I think all games help you. You know, the competition wasn't great, but they were men, grown men. They were physical, so I think that helped us.
A couple of exhibition games in between now and the season opener against Virginia, of course, the defending national champions, a team that you guys have started to have a little bit of a rivalry with over the last couple of seasons. How important is it to get off on the right foot, and how different is it to be going up against a team the quality of Virginia to lead off the year?
They're a great team. You know, they're a great coach, and they lose a couple of key guys, but they've got great players. So we'll use the exhibition games to get ready and hopefully have a good first game with Virginia.
The Cuse and the Cavs coming up on November 6th. Coach, we're looking forward to it. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Syracuse women's basketball is under 500 with just 8 games to play, but the Orange have a chance to fix that tonight. Welcome back to News Live at 6. I'm jdraucci. Coach Q and company have dropped 5 of their last 7 games, but they've got a good chance at redemption tonight against Boston College. Our Cooper Boardman is out in Chestnut Hill. And Coop, what should we expect from this game? Excited to get that one going out there in the Commonwealth. Make sure you're following our women's basketball reporter Chris Sacchi at Sach Christopher on Twitter for updates throughout the night. The women's hoops team is on a bit of a downturn, but expectations for the men's lacrosse team are sky high. Orange coming into the season ranked 5th in the Inside Lacrosse media poll, getting ready to open things up tomorrow night against Colgate. Remember, the Raiders beat SU in the season opener last year, and senior Stephen Rafus says the team wants that one back.
From the moment that game ended, I think everyone was talking right away, like, I hope we play them that same Friday night, first game of the year. I've had it circled on the calendar ever since I found out. I remember asking the coaches over the summer if it was finalized. I think everyone's really looking forward to it, and it's definitely a bit of a revenge game for us and for me personally.
You can catch tomorrow's men's opener at 4 o'clock on ACC Network. And right after that men's game, the equally hyped SU women's team hits the Dome turf for their season opener. Back on Orange Press Pass, breaking down Syracuse's 58-27 loss to Boston College today inside the Dome. 4 straight losses since the bye week, but a little bit of an improvement today. We talked about how bad the defense was. The offense, though, was better than it has been the last couple of weeks. Only a couple of garbage time touchdowns against Florida State last week, but they actually had a couple of first quarter touchdowns that put them in the driver's seat. The offense looked much better today, Gil.
The play calling was...
Well, folks, as we all know, football season not going so well for Syracuse, so it's a good thing that basketball is almost officially back inside the Dome. How's it going, everyone? I'm jdraucci. The reason I say almost officially back is because Jim Boeheim and company still have one more exhibition game left on the docket before the regular season begins, and it's not an easy cupcake either. 14-time Canadian national champion Carleton took a trip to the Dome tonight, and the Ravens put up a pretty good fight against the Qs. Up by 10 at halftime, 41-31. And then a couple of other freshmen get involved. Quincy Guerrier, the Canadian on the interior, going up against some of his countrymen. How about the hustle play from Marek Dolezaj ahead for JG3? He's not just shooting 3 balls. Tough finish in transition. Couple of minutes later, Bryson Goodine dished out the last assist to JG3. Oh, don't do it to him, young fella. Up and under for the finish. What a heck of a move. Goodine then would dish off one last assist. JG3 dagger. 77-58. The Syracuse Orange roll in exhibition number 2. And now it's time to prepare for the real thing.
Now, JD, Syracuse obviously going to their regular season matchup. They have their first regular season game on Wednesday, taking on the defending national champion Virginia Cavaliers. What do you like about them in this one?
I like the fact that they have a lot of scoring options. We don't know who exactly are going to be the 3 through 4 scoring options. We know it's going to be Elijah Hughes, number 1, and then probably Buddy Boeheim, number 2, but then you've got Bryson Goodine, you've got Joe Girard III, you've got Quincy Guerrier. You've got so many guys that can score the basketball. That kind of versatility is going to be important for a young team.